How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
All right. Tell me about your favorite place. It could be real or imagined.
Okay. Well, let's see. I guess my favorite place is a place where I like to go to in my mind, especially if I'm thinking about a story that I'd like to write. And it's usually this weird, whimsical, like rainforest where you're walking around and like the animals, you can hear the animals all around you. And it's just a really beautiful place. And for some reason, I think it's because I loved looking at the stars and the moon growing up. It's always nighttime in the place in my mind, and it's just so pretty. It's like sometimes I'll be sitting by this lake, and you'll see the moon kind of being reflected on the lake, and it's just so gorgeous. It's so pretty, and sometimes I'll find myself just staring into the water and just looking at the stars being reflected too. Other times I'll catch myself walking through the woods in like this really, it's kind of silly, but this really whimsical dress that you'll probably see in like medieval times or even an African princess once upon a time. I'm just walking through and looking at all the foliage and all the flowers. And this place, I guess this is my favorite place because it's like a culmination of like all my different experiences in childhood as a teenager and like as an adult now. Like especially as a kid, me and my mom, we would all go sometimes in the middle of the night and walk down the sidewalk, and we would either tell people like get out the way or knock you down, kaboosh. And then sometimes we would sing this song like I see the moon and the moon sees me shining down through the old oak tree, and that moon that shines on me shines on the one I love. And so I guess that kind of stems from that, and I really loved saying that song and like thinking about the moon shining through the old oak tree, even though I had no idea what in the world an oak tree looked like. But in that case, it's just, that's where my favorite place goes. And sometimes, even then, I'll be in this weird looking version of Duke Gardens, but it'll be very ethereal, very neon lights, blues and pinks and purples, and I'll just sometimes music will play, music that's very classical like, but also very orchestral, and I just sit there and kind of just spin in circles and just look over through everything and just feel at peace because it's a peaceful place. It's a place where I can imagine who I'd be like if I was this fairy tale person or even just a person, a movie, or just anything. And I guess I like going to this place. Like I said, it calms me down, but also it's fun. Like I can in real life, I can be sometimes like a bit of I won't say bummer, but I can be very serious, sometimes boring, very literal. When I get to this place in my head or in my dreams, I get to be whoever I get to be. Like if I want to pretend that I'm Princess Tiana making beignets in the forest for some reason, I can do that. If I want to pretend to be this warrior princess that protects the world from a crazy place, I get to go do that in that place. And people can call me crazy, but I promise I'm not crazy. I'm just very imaginative. But another reason I do like this place is because it spawned a lot of ideas. Like I love to write. I don't tell people that because I don't pick up the stories like I should, but a lot of my stories that I've written or short stories I've written come from a section of that place. Like there's this one story called that I wrote something about like two stones and one bird, and quite literally the setting of that idea came from that place in my mind. Same thing with another story that I wrote for a creative writing class. It came from that place or like a snippet of what that place could be. I've even imagined dragons because why not? Dragons are fun, and I like dragons, and I like troll people that like anything, even stuff that I get from watching video games or reading other books, they get put into this place, and I just get to sift through them and be like, wow, here's a world, a treasure trove of things that I get to explore without anybody telling me it's weird or wrong and all that. So yeah, that's my favorite place.
Okay. Thank you so much. Um, so now, I will tell you my favorite place.
Okay.
Okay. Um, my favorite place is, I'm gonna say, going to Disney World.
Okay.
Um, my first time going to Disney World, I was about maybe 8 years old. It was a place that I saw was magical. I felt like it was the most expensive place that I had ever been to, coming from Elizabeth City, North Carolina. And I went with, for the first time, I went with my dad's co-worker and his family and his granddaughter. And we drove in the car. It felt like the longest trip ever, but it was the most exciting. We counted pools on the road, in people's backyards. And whoever found the most pools on the drive was the winner. Of course, we didn't win anything, but it was very exciting just to get out of Elizabeth City, because I had never been too many places like Virginia, but like going way to Florida, that was something big. So, and then also, just an experience of being with another family. With me being with my own family before on road trip is something totally different than being with somebody else that you've never been on road trip with. So, being in their car, they had a nice car, and we were driving, and just to go through the different states. And when we got to Georgia, we saw the big Georgia peach. And I thought that was so, well, let me backtrack. When we got to South Carolina, and we stopped at the south of the border, and with the Mexican hat, the little man with the Mexican hat on, I had never seen anything like that. Being from little teeny old Elizabeth City, it was just very interesting to me, So I was so excited to get to south of the border. So then we stopped at the south of the border. We went inside the south of the border. We looked at all the different things, and of course, I wanted everything. I wanted my uncle to buy. He was clearly not my uncle, but we called him Uncle Udi Boy. And so my Uncle Udi Boy was like, oh, I want this. And his granddaughter was like, and I want that. And we want this and we want that. And then he was like, nope, we got to keep moving. So we got back in the car, got on the road again. When we got to Georgia, we saw this big old Georgia peach. Oh my God. Now, the Georgia peach, it was just so cute. I was like, okay, yeah. So then we traveled. We didn't stop anymore until we got into Florida. I remember stopping, I don't even know what part of Florida we were in, but we stopped in Florida, and I remember saying, well, we're in Florida. Where's Disney World? Not knowing that you had to go through different, towns and counties in order to get to Orlando, so it felt like we took forever when we got in Florida. It took forever to get to Disney World. We stayed at a little resort area. I remember, I've always stayed in a hotel, but staying at a resort was like luxury. It was so much better. We had a pool there that we could go to, and, coming from Elizabeth City, North Carolina, we didn't have a pool. I didn't have a pool in Tringelo. We had a sand pit, and that was it. And I didn't swim in the sand pit. We had the ditches. I didn't swim in the ditches, because it was tadpoles and all the other microorganisms and stuff in there too. So yeah, so to actually have a pool at the house that you were staying at, that was real big and cool to me. So just to be able to go in the pool and just swim and just like don't have a care in the world, and just being free to be me, to be a kid, and just to have fun. And then when we went the next day to Disney World, just walking in was magical. It was just something about seeing this big old place. And so just going in and seeing the shops on both sides, and we were able to walk in the shops, and then the characters came out to us, and they were just looking at us and just saying hi, you know, snapping pictures. And of course, back then we had a little Polaroid, and we were snapping our little pictures, and I really enjoy the moments that we captured at each shop that we went to. Each station that we went to was like magical. Even if it was just eating ice cream, that was magical to me. I had Florida ice cream. That was good. You know, even when we got to the castle, and it was just like this big old castle, and I felt so little in a big world. And, you know, just being able to walk around. And then we got on, I think it was called back then Splash Mountain. I'm not sure, but I believe it was called Splash Mountain. We got up on this roller coaster. I didn't like roller coasters now. Got up on this roller coaster. I had to do it because my friend was doing it. And Uncle Udabor was like, yep, if one go, the other one go. Scared to death, but got up on this Splash Mountain ride. And we were going up, 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 up. Got to the top, and we were in this like boat thing. And I was like, oh my God. Oh my God, oh my God. And then we went down, whoosh. And when we went down, oh my God, my stomach hit the bottom of my, well, I don't know. I felt nauseous and just like I was going to throw up. But then it was like, it was just adrenaline and just fun and just an amazing thrill. And then the water came over us and splashed us, and I felt cold and scared. And oh my God, like, wow, okay. Then I was ready to get off. And when we got in the little trolley area to get off, we were wet. We were so wet, but it was amazing. And we got off, and he was like, y'all want to do it again? I was like, nope. But it was hot, so we walked around, and that was enough to dry us out while we were walking around. I remember going to the teacups. On the teacups, it was I don't know why that was so cool to me. Like, I was sitting in a big old teacup, and you could twirl the thing in the middle, and you'd be spinning around and twirling it around, and my friend was twirling the opposite way, so we were going one way, then we'll turn and go the other way, and one way and turn, and it was just so cool. And then, of course, Disney when you get off and stuff. And then we went to eat. We ate lunch, in the park. I remember eating lunch in the park. And then he took us to another ride. I don't even remember the other ride's name, but we got on, many rides, and then we got off the rides, and then nightfall came. It's like we stayed there the entire day. And nightfall came, and then they showed the fireworks show. Oh, it was so beautiful to see the fireworks behind the castle and the music and the characters. They had a whole parade. We were standing, and they had a parade, and the characters were coming down the road of the parade, and it was just like magical. It was very magical. It was a dream come true, literally a dream come true. And I promised myself that I will always have that same magical experience, at least to take my kids when I grew up, so they can experience the same thing that I experienced. And so my favorite place is going to Disney World, and I've taken my children, and I think my husband's first trip to Disney World was with us. And so he even experienced that magical feeling at Disney World. So I love Disney World. I love just the traveling from little old North Carolina all the way down to Florida. And even the thunderstorms were different down in Florida. Back in the day, I didn't like thunderstorms. They scared me. I was very terrified of thunderstorms. So Elizabeth City thunderstorms were nothing like Florida thunderstorms. They were a lot worse. So just to have all those experiences at Disney World has been a dream come true to me. So my favorite place, my favorite real place is Disney World. Yeah. Okay. So now, what did you hear when you had your eyes closed in my tone of voice?
I heard you're very eager to share your story and very excited, and I thought that was adorable because usually you don't get that type of excitement from adults or even people that get up in age or even people that are like my age, and it's fun and it was refreshing to hear that because like you hear people talk about Disney World and you see the commercials, you see the kids, and you see for some reason Star Wars is really big.
Yeah.
But hearing you just talk about your family going on that trip and reminding me of going home, coming back home, and then telling everybody, wow, we did that. Oh my gosh, you should have been there. And then, I thought I almost fell off, and I was just like, oh. And so it made me want to be like, okay, obviously you have to go to Disney World. And at the same time, I could hear that it's not only just a fun memory, it's a memory that brings you closer to your family, especially when you have lost family members along the way. And it reminds you like they may not be here anymore or I may not be able to see them, but I have this memory that I can go back to and realize the fun we had, the smiles, the laughter, the crazy moments, the weird moments. And that's what I got from your tone of voice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's exciting to hear. What I got from your tone of voice is how you allowed your imagination to just be free. It went from almost from a dream to really reality, because in your dream you can imagine things, but that imagination came from a real life experience. It came from you sharing those memories that you had with you and your mom and your sister walking down the street as a childhood, but then it also broadened your imagination because you were really thinking about the things that you experienced but put it in your dream, in your imagination. So that was real cool how you can take your dream and really make it real, So that was very cool. And then not only did you think one dimensional, you thought like almost three-dimensional, because you thought about other things that could go in the dream, looking at the stars, looking at the moon, and then having the dream of being something else or being someone else, So that was cool. Very good imagination, very good real-time experiences, creating something. That's entrepreneurship, because you could make a movie based off your dream and your imagination.
I never thought about that.
Yeah, so that's cool. Very good job. Very, very good job. So I really enjoyed this conversation.
I did enjoy this conversation.
I really thank you for helping me, and thanks so much.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening, and thank you for your input.
Thank you for your input.